Hey Joe, it's Folks here. What happens if you started a print-on-demand store and something unexpected happens? Would you be ready, or would you just freak out and run away and close your store? Or would you have a way to respond to it and actually take care of the problem? In this video today, that's exactly what I'm going to attempt to help you to do. I'm going to be reviewing 3 of the most common issues that new print-on-demand sellers end up facing when it comes to running their print-on-demand store. And hopefully this will help you, like I said, if you are new.
How do you deal with returns? Do you accept refunds and returns for change of mind, stuff like that? How do you set it up so you don't take a heavy loss? That question was posted inside of the POD Ninjas Facebook group. This is my print-on-demand Facebook group. If you guys want to join, there's a link down in the description. Inside, you will find a whole bunch of training lessons from me. It's all completely free to watch. And you'll also find all of my print-on-demand product reviews. Over the last couple years, print-on-demand suppliers have sent me tons of their products to review for you, and all of my reviews are inside of the group. So like I said, there's a link down in the description, but back to Jeremy's post. He also gives an example that if you were to make 20 sales in a month and then 11 people asked for a refund, what would you do? Now, if the thought of returns and refunds freaks you out about running a print-on-demand store, you are not alone. I have been doing this since 2016, and refunds have continued to be something that stresses me out. Don't get me wrong, refunds are not something that are going to be as common as Jeremy is making it seem. I have never seen something like making 20 sales and having over half of the people ask for a refund. Typically, the refund rate is like 1 to 3% of all orders that you are having. And in most cases, when I say the refund rate, I'm really just talking about people actually requesting a refund, not me actually giving one. And what I want to do in this video is sort of break down my perspective on when a refund should be given. And I'll also talk a little bit about how you can actually structure your return policy on your store to make sure that you don't have a massive loss on what you are trying to sell. And after we talk about returns, we're actually going to jump in and talk about what to do with long shipping times from various print-on-demand companies. And we'll also talk about how to avoid copyright and trademark with your print-on-demand designs. So first things first, with returns on your print-on-demand store, one thing to realize is that you are the business owner, meaning if someone asks for a return, you are the one that is making the decision. I bring that up because a lot of times people wonder whether or not they should inform the print-on-demand company that they're working with that the buyer has requested a refund. If you have a customer who is just requesting a refund because they've changed their mind, the print-on-demand company has no reason to get involved. In most cases, your print-on-demand company will only refund you or send a replacement to your customer if the item is damaged, if the blanket that they ordered is ripped, or if the print is messed up. Let's say that it's smudged or something like that, or even if they received the wrong item. Based on that is how I kind of construct my own return policies on my store, meaning I try to only give refunds in situations where the print-on-demand company is either going to refund me or send a replacement to a customer. So on my store, I say something like this: we are a made-to-order business, which means as soon as you place your order, we will get to work producing it for you. And for that reason, returns and exchanges are only accepted in the case of damaged goods. To find out more about this policy, please shoot us an email and then I will list my email. Now, obviously, in a perfect world, that is going to be something you will uphold all of the time. If you are living somewhere where there are different laws and regulations that affect when you should be offering a return or a refund, then you'd want to look into that. But in most cases, you are going to be able to set your own policy. And in some cases as well, people will argue with you and they might try to get a refund. And if you feel like it's just in your best interest to refund them and move on, then do it. Overall, I really wouldn't worry too much about returns and refunds. And like I said, if you structure your return policy and you're just upfront with it on your store, you can always reflect back to that when someone questions it. Another thing that people that are new to print on demand often get a little bit nervous about is the shipping times. In a world where Amazon has completely dominated the e-commerce landscape, everybody is used to really fast and free shipping. Here's a post here from someone named Charnay. They're basically just asking, how do we deal with long shipping times, especially when using suppliers suppliers that are out of the country. Basically meaning if you're here in the United States and you're using a print-on-demand company based in China or in Europe, how do you actually get around the shipping times of that? The short answer is that you really can't. Of course, if you are using an app that is based outside the country, you're going to be dealing with longer times than if you were dealing with a print-on-demand supplier that was in the same country as you. That doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad thing or something that you should totally avoid. Oftentimes, you are going to get a much cheaper product if you use one of these companies that are not based in the USA. Now, I'm not saying to always use the out-of-country supplier. I'm just saying if you weigh the savings that you could have in the product costs, it might be worth it for you. They're asking here, do you put made to order or display the long shipping times on your store? So the answer to this is essentially you want to do both. The worst thing in the world that you could do though is to just write on your store, please allow up to 6 weeks for your item to arrive. If you do that, odds are no one's gonna order because they're gonna look at that and they're gonna say, I'm not waiting 6 weeks for this hoodie. A much better way to do it would be to have some sort of shipping policy on your store where you explain that you are a small business that utilizes a print provider to create all of your products on demand. Essentially, you say something like, we utilize an on-demand business model to make sure that we can offer the highest quality product at the lowest price possible. Because of this, please allow 3 to 7 business days to receive a tracking number. Once you receive your tracking number, your item is quoted by the carrier as taking 4 to 12 business days to arrive at your location, depending on where you are. When you write something like that, everybody's going to just read it and assume that, yep, that makes sense. I think that is a good policy and I'm going to order this product. But what you really did is you quoted them 3 to 7 business days to receive a tracking number and then another 4 to 12 days once the item is shipped to actually receive it. So in reality, you actually told them that it could take up to 21 business days for them to receive their item, which in reality is really like 24, 25 real calendar days, which in most cases is going to give you enough time to have the product arrive to them. If you are concerned and you want to adjust some of those numbers, definitely make sure to check out the estimated arrival times from your print-on-demand supplier and just write the same thing I just said, but just change the numbers accordingly. And just like with the returns, right, where I talked about how it is a big deal when it happens, but it's also not that common. The same thing with shipping issues. No matter what print-on-demand company you're using, whether it's something that's based in the USA versus something that's based in China, you're likely going to at some point face some sort of issue with both. Just because a company is based in China does not necessarily mean that it's going to have more issues than one that is based in the United States. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about today is a question from Sally, where she is asking about copyright issues and essentially how do you make sure that you can credit the quote that you're using to the original author. Here is something that I found on a website called lawyers.com. Basically, someone asking basically the same question as Sally, saying, can I print a song lyric on t-shirts and sell it as a clothing line? I want to also give credit to the artist by putting the song and artist name inside the tag. Basically, a lawyer has responded and says, yes, absolutely, you can develop a clothing line in which you sell t-shirts with song lyrics printed on the shirts. However, before you start developing your line, you're going to need to negotiate a license agreement with the owner of the copyright of the lyrics. Now, before we jump into that, I want to talk a little bit about the difference between copyrights and trademarks because understanding this is really important. So first, copyright is something that provides authors with the exclusive right to distribute their works, make copies of their works, perform or display their work, etc., etc. Basically saying that the only person that has the rights to certain types of works is the creator. Now, copyright is much different than a trademark because you can see here when it comes to registering a copyright, it is protected as soon as it is fixed in a physical form such as a book, a digital recording, or a painting. Basically saying that as soon as someone creates something, it is protected under copyright law. If I write a song and you put those song lyrics on a t-shirt, I own the copyright because I wrote the song, and if I took you to court, all I need to do is show that I wrote the song and that you're using lyrics from my song, and then you would lose the lawsuit. Now, a trademark is different because this in most cases is something that someone who is creating something is actually taking some sort of action to protect. Much different than a copyright, which sort of just applies naturally once you create something. You can see here that a trademark can be any word, phrase, symbol, design, or combination of these things. These would be things like the word Nike or the Nike logo or various other slogans that would represent a brand. Even the names of TV shows or sports teams and sports logos would also be things that would fall under trademark. When it comes to print on demand, we can't use any of that stuff. If it is something that is trademarked by another business, you would need written permission from them to actually use it on your products. The same goes for song lyrics or words from a book or really anything else out there that someone has created and owns a natural copyright protection to. When it comes to print on demand, you're really better off just kind of creating your own things and having artists actually draw things for you if you can't draw them yourselves. That way you're not using someone else's image. Oftentimes people will say to me, Joe, I see other people blatantly using other companies' logos on their print on demand products. How are they getting away with it? Well, the truth is they just haven't gotten caught yet. Basically, they have violated trademark law, and the only way they're going to get caught is if the owner of the trademark sees what they're doing and takes some sort of legal action. That doesn't mean you should do it though. It just means that they're just happening to get away with it for the moment. And at some point, they will likely get their products taken down. So in general, it's best to just avoid using any sort of logos or trademark slogans or even lyrics from a song in your print on demand products. Hopefully these 3 things were helpful. Like I said, these were some of the most prevalent things that I see new print on demand store owners ask about, whether it's returns on their store, shipping times, or things to do with copyrights. Let me know down in the comments if there's anything specific here in this video in terms of those 3 topics that you still want more information about, and maybe I'll make another video in the future where I spend the entire time talking about one of those 3 subjects. And again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.